guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I really wanted a very wintry looking look, and actually on Pinterest I've kind of created these seasonal boards of different colour palettes. So I've got a winter one which is kind of full of winter kind of inspired colour palettes, because I thought it was actually, I did this ages ago. I thought it might be quite helpful if I'm kind of wanting to come up with some ideas, maybe a bit more seasonal. It'd be quite a nice way, and like I said, I've got one for spring, summer, autumn as well. So I thought I'd make use of it, and actually I want to do this one here, kind of nice, really wintry, crisp look, so very monochromatic with blacks, whites and greys. So, got a ring. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then please keep on watching. So I'm going to prep and prime my eyes with my Lily Eye Primer, as always, using a Real Techniques concealer brush. So I'm not going to show you the eyeshadows that I'm going to be using, just because I'm using a mix of palettes and I want it to be more on kind of the type of look and the technique. So I've got 5 shades that I'm going to use. I've gone for a shimmery white, but nothing that's too stark white. There's a little bit of shimmer in there. I've got a very light grey, a kind of lightish grey, a medium grey, and then a black to play with. You can kind of alter them to how deep you want the look to look, how deep you want the eye look to look. So I'm going quite smoky. So you could, if you had really fair skin, you didn't want to go with black, you could switch out the black for a slightly darker grey, or you go a bit darker with each of the shades. But I want to focus more on the shades, colour and the application as opposed to what actual product I'm using. And like I said, I'm using 3 different palettes as well, so I thought it would be best to do it that way. So I'm going to do a very classic smoky eye. So this is a kind of a shape that will suit most eye shapes. You may have to tweak it slightly here and there, but this should suit most eye shapes. So I'm going to start off with the medium grey. I'm going to take it on a flat brush like this. This is a Luxie 213 eye shading brush. So it picks up, like I said, this could be your alternative for a black, and then you can make it lighter the other shades. I want to add a bit of black in there as well, but I'm going with the medium to dark grey shade first. And what we're going to do here is we're going to pat this onto the outer portion of the lid. So like I said, we're doing a classic kind of smoky eye style. So you want a flat brush to pick up as much pigment as possible, and then use patting motions to really layer that product down. Like I said, we're going to really focus purely on the outer portion of the lid. If you've got slightly hooded eyes and the lid's not visible, take it slightly further up into the crease, so you have got some visibility there as well. But again, like I said, just use patting motions just to get that colour down. And I'm taking it kind of halfway across the lid. Do the same with the other side. So you can see I'm just really packing on that colour, and we'll get to the blending process in a minute. If you're opting to use this kind of shade as your alternative for a black, then go in with the next shade down you're going to use for grey as this outer portion shade. I'm going to go along the lower lash line, but we're going to focus on the upper portion first. Okay, before we go in with any other colour, we're going to take a blending brush. I'm taking quite a small blending brush. I believe this is a Sigma blending brush, but the name's completely rubbed off. But we're just going to go kind of just above where we placed that dark grey and start buffing it out, just to diffuse it. So I'm going back and forth in kind of the crease area, just above where I've put that shade. So I'm not trying to bring it any further any higher up on their eyes. I just more want to soften it, ready for the next shade. You can do a little bit on the lid, it doesn't matter too much there because we're packing on colour on the lid really. Just go back and forth, and then you can bring it right into the centre bit of the crease as well, or the inner portion of the crease. So I'm just going to go back and forth. And we'll do the same on the other side, back and forth. I do focus more on the outer portion first, and then kind of go into the inner portion once I'm happy, because I don't want too much darkness there. And don't worry if you get anything on your lid, because the other colours will sort that. But you can see we've got this nice dark pigment on the outer portion of the eye, but we're starting to smoke it and soften it. And you can go back in if you feel like you're losing a bit of intensity, like this eye I feel like has lost a little bit in comparison to this eye. Just gently go back in over the top. And then take your blending brush again and just soften it. The edges anyway. We're going to go in with our next lightest grey shade, so kind of a slightly lighter to medium grey. I'm going to use the same single brush, just tap a little bit off, don't pick up too much. And we're kind of going to go over the top of where we just blended that dark shade and start the next colour. Just as a bit more of a seamless transition between the two. We can bring this slightly higher, not too much. That's probably fine. I'm going to do the same with the other eye. I'm using slightly more circular motions as well to pack that colour on and blend it out. I'm doing a one tap into the shade and then buffing it. And now we're going to take the lightest of the greys that we've picked out for ourselves. And we're going to take a nice fluffy brush. This is a 100% Pure's fluffy brush. The name again has rubbed off. And we're going to use quite a light hand and we're going to start buffing these edges at the top just to really soften and diffuse. So again, I'm taking the brush quite low down, the handle, because it'll give me a bit lighter pressure. So I'm not going to put too much pigment down, but we're going to do enough to buff and blend. Start smoking it out. I can use circular motions plus back and forth motions. And you can see that's really softened the edges here. And I'm going for a more rounded look as opposed to a winged out look here. So pick up more of that lightest grey. You can really kind of tailor the shades themselves to what you prefer. So you may want to go even with lighter greys than I'm going in. This is kind of, if I will just show you, that's the lightest grey I'm going in with currently, the kind of shade. But you can go even lighter grey than that if you feel more comfortable with something like that. It's just more the technique and the placement here. So yeah, really tailor it to how you would suit and kind of what suits your skin tone and all that fun stuff. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the flat brush I used for the very first shade. I just fancy going a bit further over here, the outer portion. Because sometimes after all the blending you can start to lose a bit of intensity and I want to bring it back ever so slightly. But what I'm going to do is use the really fluffy brush again and just soften the edges. I haven't picked up any more of the light grey at the moment, just using the leftover to kind of soften. Yeah, it's just re-intensified that outer portion, which I like. Okay, I'm going to switch brush, but I'm going to stick with the light grey shade. I'm just going in with something a bit smaller. This is a Luxie 231 blending brush. I'm taking the lightest grey again that I've chosen, and I'm just going to gently kind of pat that onto this inner portion of the lid. I'm going to start the gradient effect on the lid as well. So I'm not really blending at this point, I am just more patting. And I'm going like partially over the dark shade on the outer portion as well. You can do is go back and forth with your flat brush that you use for the dark shade and that brush we've just used for the light grey, and kind of just play around with this section here to diffuse the two colours together. So you've got a bit more blend going on. Okay, something like that. Now we're going to go in with the white. I've picked quite a, not a stark white, and I've picked quite a bit of a shimmery white just to add a bit of brightness to the eye. I'm actually going to take this on my finger, I think. So this is kind of what I've gone for. It's quite shimmery. It's a bit more silver-like, which I think would sort of suit the look a bit more. So I'm going to take a bit of that. I'm actually going to go over that light grey. This will also help it not be too stark colour. Because like I said, I want it to be quite a soft pop of shimmer, pop of colour there. So we're just using a finger and just dabbing over. Then what I'm actually going to do is take the brush I used for the light grey, but use the white again and pop it right in the inner corner. And that will be where the brightest of the white will sit. Just like that. Now we haven't gone over the black yet, and I'm not going to till near the end. So now I'm going to do the lower lash line. I'm kind of going to repeat the upper lid to a degree. So again, I'm going to take my flat brush and take the darkest of the greys I've selected and run it along the outer portion only. You want to try and get as close to the lash line as you can. Again, just stop kind of halfway along there. So just same with the other eye. Okay, then I'm going to skip out the next grey shade I use and go straight into the lightest grey. Because we've got less room to work with, sometimes you can't layer up all the shades like you like. So I'm now going with the lightest grey that I chose. I'm taking that Luxie brush we used and I'm just going to slowly soften. So I'm going a little bit just below where I put that dark grey to help soften and blend. I still want it quite compact to the eye, which is why I'm going in with the lightest grey as opposed to layering up the other greys. I'm actually just going to clean off that Luxie brush because we're then going to go back in with the white we used, and I'm just going to pop some a bit more along the lower lash line. So the kind of style is very much mimicking what we've done on the lid here. So this is what we've got. So now I'm going to go in the black. Like I said, you can use slightly darker grey if you think black is too heavy. Tailor the kind of tones and shades and the darkness to what suits you. So now black, which I need my third palette for. And all I'm going to do with this is more just really define the lash line and give some definition around the outer portion. So I'm taking a little pencil brush, picking up my black, and I'm going to run this just along the upper lash line again, as I always do on the outer portion only. That just adds a pop of something along the lash line there, which really helps define it, I think. And do the same on the other side. Okay, and then I will take the tiniest amount and just do it only on the outer portion here. But literally just there. I'm not bringing it as far as I did with the dark grey, just there. And to make sure it's not too heavy, I'm actually going to leave the waterline bare for this one. If you had a nice nude colour, that would be quite cool. I wouldn't go with white because I think that would be too stark in this instance. But actually I quite like just leaving it bare for this look. All that's left to do is layer up the lashes. So I'm going in my Ilia mascara, which is still going strong surprisingly, and loading up my upper and lower lashes. Okay, then on to lips. I'll just finish it off. I want to go for a bit of an icier lip. I've just taken off what I had on and patted a little bit of foundation over the top. I want to see, this might be a bit too much, so I may change it, but I want to see what the Kiko lip gloss is like, the one, the really icy pink shade is like with this look. Because I think actually like the pinker tones, lighter pink tones suit greys much better. I don't think it's too stark, so I may have to add something else underneath it. But Kiko 3D Hydro Glass in 27. It's very icy, so it's maybe a bit too much. Yeah, do you know, I think it needs a colour underneath. It's a gorgeous lip gloss, but I do think it might need something underneath. So I'm actually going to take another Kiko product. This is their Green Me Lips and Cheeks in 108. Just add a touch of colour to the lips. Perfect, and then we can go with the gloss. And that is this look complete. So like I said, I really wanted to do a look based off one of those colour palettes that I created off Pinterest. I more wanted to show you kind of how you can create the look with the tones and what techniques to use as opposed to actually the products I use. I will list the palettes I use below, but like I said, you can kind of tailor the shade tones to what suits your skin tone better. So if you need to go a bit lighter, go lighter with the shades. If you need to go darker, entirely up to you. But I just thought it was a bit of a fun video, something a little bit different, and not kind of product focused, more kind of application focused. So if you like this video, let me know, because I've got, like I said, I've created little Pinterest boards for each of the seasons with loads of colour palettes in. So I can always do this again, and there's loads to play with, so I just thought it might be quite fun. So this is my one, this is like a frosty grey type of look. It is kind of like a smoky classic eye as well. Very much so, and like I said, it would suit most eye shapes. You may just have to tweak it depending on your eye shape slightly. Like I said, with hooded eyes, you may want to bring the dark colour slightly higher up so it's visible, and yeah, or bring the shimmer a bit higher up if you need to give the illusion of slightly bigger lids. But apart from that, this will be quite a nice complementary look for most eye shapes. So I really hope you found that interesting and helpful. Like I said, let me know if you want to see something similar again. I will leave the products that I did use on my eyes down below in case you're interested. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.